Welcome into Gateway Center Arena, where Game 1 is wrapped up and the Fever are in a 1-0 series deficit in this best-of-3, falling by a final score of 80-68 at the hands of the Atlanta Dream. Now, these two teams, they haven't played each other in well over 2 months. July 11th was the last time they took the floor against each other, but since then, a lot of roster turnover, specifically on the Fever side, and for the Dream, just pretty much reloading their starting five. And you knew this was going to be a physical matchup, but the Fever were up to that test, especially early on in this game, setting the tone. They even built a 3-point lead after the first quarter. And then the biggest thing about this game, when you look at it big picture, the second and fourth quarters, where the Fever were outscored by a combined 17 points, and then here they are losing by a total of 12. Now, Kelsey Mitchell, once again leading the Fever. She'd go on to finish with 27 points, but there's just so much firepower offensively. When the Dream get on the floor, they can dominate you down low, and they can spread the floor out as well with their wing play. They had 4 players scoring in double figures, Allisha Gray and Ryan Howard, each finishing with 20 in this game. And then you look at the fourth quarter, that's where things started to sort of unravel a little bit. This game was within range, but then we started to see a couple technical fouls called. There were some spurts throughout the game where it was 3, 4, 5 maybe questionable fouls that were being called against the Fever, and that just ruined any sort of momentum and rhythm for this team. And well, after the game, they showed those frustrations. Take a listen to Lexi Hull, Stephanie White, and Kelsey Mitchell.
Steph, kind of similar question, but what did you think was the biggest downfall in the second and fourth quarter for you guys?
The fouls. I mean, I think we get momentum, and then, there's 4 or 5 foul calls in a row, and, they get some opportunities. I think it stopped the flow of the game. It didn't allow us to get up and down in transition. I think that their physicality took us out of our rhythm sometimes. The ball didn't move quite as much. But the games are, at this time of the year especially, but mostly all the time, it's the margins. 18 second chance points. Their ability to outscore us from the 3-point line, and they're going to get some because they're a really good 3-point shooting team. It's the ones where we're overhelping or we're losing our guy. We're in rotation when we don't need to be. We're not closed up. We're not aggressive in our switches. All of those things. They're fast. They're long. They make you work throughout entire possessions. Offensive rebounds that we gave up at end of clocks, or when we played really good defense. So it's a lot of little things. I like where we are. I'm proud of our group for continuing to fight, and we're going to be better on Tuesday.
Yeah, just talking about the fouls, obviously you had used both your challenges in the first half, and it seemed like the tensions boiled over in the fourth with those technical fouls. Just how frustrating was that today?
It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. Nobody likes to use their challenges in the first half, especially when they're successful. And look, it is what it is. This is not anything that's new. I think how we adjust, how we use it to our advantage on one end and try to be disciplined enough to not on the other end. It's an equal chess match as it is for playing an opponent, right? So, I think that's just an area that we're going to have to dive into, how we get an advantage.
Manuel Glade, the Crush Sports Talk. This for you. This question is for Lexi. Talk about the physicality of this game, and being when it's the playoff playing in such a physical game like today.
Yeah, I think we knew coming in it's playoffs. It's going to be physical, and we're going to have to learn how to play with that. Especially this team is inherently a physical team. So for us, knowing that's the case and being able to respond, I think there's things that we're able to watch and film on how to handle that better, not letting the refs determine, how that physically is impacting us, but just continuing to play through that. It's definitely something we're going to have to work on and watch film and get better at, but that's part of playoffs, and that's part of the thing that we're going to have to get better at moving forward in the series.
This is Megan Hall with USA Today. The question is for Kelsey. Kelsey, what did Atlanta do today defensively that kind of disrupted what you guys plan to do on the court?
I think we shot ourselves in the foot to start things. We didn't give ourselves a chance defensively sometimes and be able to get what we want. I think, not being able to capitalize on things that make us great, turning the ball over. We shot ourselves in the foot a lot in a lot of different areas that impact being able to like make plays and do what you want to do on the offensive end. So I think that once we stop doing that, we give ourselves more of a chance to kind of be who we are offensively. And you guys get to see us at our best when we get to pick apart the stuff that we can control. I think the turnovers, 50-50 balls, all that kind of stuff that kind of impact the game in small ways that a lot of people like you guys don't want to talk about, it impact the game hugely. And when you don't do those things, it kind of, you lose. So.
Now, certainly we know how resilient this team has been all season long. They've had 17 players under contract. They have 5 season-ending injuries, including the one to Caitlin Clark. So now they have to just bounce back. Here they are, their backs are against the wall, a game away from elimination, but now they get to go home and play in front of the home crowd. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, they know how to host a playoff game or so, and they look to take advantage of that on Tuesday at 7:30 against Atlanta.
Kelsey, given the playoff format change, you guys being able to actually host a postseason game for the first time in your career in Indiana, how much do you expect that to help you guys, to give you momentum, and how just personally excited are you for that?
Personally excited. I'll let you know when I get there. But I think it gives ourselves a chance to stay in a hunt of things we really trying to figure out, a way to come back here whenever we play. We would like to play again. So you're gonna have to take the necessary steps to be at your best. But I would like to think that being back at home can kind of give us a sense of comfort. So hopefully we can use it for what it's worth and not take it for granted.
Kelsey, what has to change between now and game time on Tuesday for y'all to come out with a victory?
I think at the point of attack, defensively and offensively, we gotta be the one to punch first. Like literally, you gotta be the one to throw a couple punches first. When it comes to making an impact on a game, you can't allow them to do it for you. I think you give yourself an edge here as a home team. So when they punched us hard, and so we have to do the same thing, vice versa, in order to get our momentum and get our rhythm running fast and off the ground early. We got to be early in our communication on defense, and I think we're gonna have to compete. It's gonna be a gut check win if we want to win. You're gonna check your gut every possession. I think it's just about it sounds crazy, but who got it more? Who's going to dig deeper? Who's going to take the extra punch, the extra step, the extra 50-50, the extra everything is important going to Tuesday.
Steph, you talked a lot about the inside play. Early on, you guys had success until those kind of disruptions. Did you like what you were able to do early on, and what corrections do you need to see from the inside presence as they come big after big?
Yeah, I did. I thought that AB did a heck of a job. Limiting Bree Jones to 7 field goal attempts. I thought she did a really good job. We were making it difficult. It's because of the way that you have to guard all 5 positions, and because of the way that they space the floor and move, it makes it tough. There are certain things that you have to live with, and you just want to try to make it as difficult as possible. And it's going to be an interior presence. We got to limit the threes, which I thought for the most part we did. We just didn't do a good enough job of countering with making some. And we got to limit the free throw line, too. And in doing so, that allows us to play in rhythm and play in flow. It was just too choppy in the second half.
How do you help try to generate some offense? I know Boston getting in foul trouble, obviously being the hub, changed a lot. But how about offensively in that second half?
Yeah, I thought we got a little stagnant. We held the ball a little bit too much, didn't get it moving side to side, get to multiple actions. We got a little tunnel visioned on trying to get it on the first or second look. And they're a really good defensive team. That's not going to happen. And if it does, it's because of a breakdown, right? So I think we've got to really hone in on consistently for 40 minutes, getting that ball moving side to side, inline to inline, in the quarter court, getting them in rotation, and then we got to take our open shots. Whether we're making shots or missing shots, we got to take them. We can't get hesitant, and I thought we did a little bit at times.
So once again here at Gateway Center Arena, the Fever falling by a final of 80-68, 1-0 series deficit in a best-of-3 series. But again, heading back home on Tuesday, tip-off at 7:30. Continue to follow along with us on 13 News over the air, as well as right here on WTHR+. Signing off in Atlanta, I'm Eli Gain for WTHR+. Have a good day.